Hey everyone, it's Zach Wright from IMEO Company, Improving Management, Employees, and Organizations. Today, what I'm going to be talking about is how we got to this conclusion. Now, this is our fiscal year 2023 IMEO strategic plan. Now, if you haven't noticed, we've been making our videos very strategically, no pun intended, because that's what we focus on. But we've been making it very strategic where we talked about the vision of the company and the importance of having a vision for your company. Then we went into your mission statement, what it is and why it's important. Then we broke that down into strategic planning. We even created a strategic planning worksheet. And if you haven't watched that video, go watch it and download that strategic planning guide or worksheet so you can start to do this on your own at your own company. Then we went into our master class that we were asked to do for a company that reached out to us based off of our YouTube videos. But that catered into strategy management, which is where we have our objectives and key results program. So we take the vision, the mission, the strategy, and then we break it down into how you manage that strategy, where you can ensure that your team is aligned and focused on what matters the most. You're able to track and measure what's going on. And as a result, you get increased productivity, enhanced employee engagement, and you drive better company performance. So today, what we're going to be talking about is how to break down your strategy and build that into an operating model that you have your KPIs that you're following and how to achieve those KPIs. So let's go ahead and dive into this. If you're interested, keep watching. If not, thanks for being here anyway. Okay, so what we're going to describe in this video is how we looked at our past, last year's success based off of our strategy, and then took that and formulated our new strategy. So whenever we started thinking about what was it that we wanted to be known for back in Q4 of 2021, we realized that we had a broad business coaching business. And what that really did was it made it hard for us to target specific people, what's also known as your ICP, your ideal customer profile. And whenever you can't identify your ICP, it becomes very hard to market to that specific audience that you're trying to reach. It becomes very difficult to resonate or relate to those people. And so what we wanted to do was niche down. And that's something that we were very nervous of before, because we liked the idea that we could work with this company over here who does holistic coaching. But then we could also work over here with a company that does renovations. And then we could also have a publicly traded company that does technology and SaaS. So we like the idea of being able to do that. But it also meant that our pricing structures were very different. They were varying. The public traded company obviously paid us more, where the smaller businesses were paying us kind of like project fees and all that kind of stuff, but at a very low level. So now what we've been able to do in Q4 of 2021, we realized that, okay, we have a specific expertise in a specific niche, which happens to be objectives and key results, or goal setting and performance management, or strategy management. So our strategy last year and a little bit into 2021 is or was that we wanted to build a program, an OKR program that delivered a 360-degree approach to learning OKRs, to being able to implement OKRs, to being able to adopt OKRs into your organization. So over the past 5 quarters, we were developing something that we ended up calling OKRs Made Easy, which is our OKR program that teaches you OKRs, teaches the entire organization OKRs. Then we also build out an implementation plan that helps us guide our clients step by step on what they need to do to implement OKRs and make them successful, where every employee adopts OKRs. And then lastly, we had the portion where we're providing coaching and consulting during that phase as well. So we have OKR workshop, we have OKR playbooks, everything that you need, we have it. That was our strategy. We wanted to get from broad business coaching to offering an OKR program to make OKRs easy. That's our one-liner for our strategy last year. Now this year, we took what we learned, and I'll put something on the side of the screen where you can see our successes, but I'll read them off, not all of them, but we increased our revenue by 46.6% last year from 2021 to 2022. And then we developed our fully functioning OKR program, as I mentioned, but we also, since we were focusing on one specific thing, we were able to finalize our pricing. So we have a startup offering, we have a growth offering, and then we have a scale offering. And it all depends on the size of your company, the number of employees, the amount of revenue, those things are factored in. We establish official partnerships that helps us get the word out on our OKR program, specifically with GTM Hub, which is now Quantive. By having that partnership, we're able to tap into a market where people are looking for OKR softwares, but then our offering is a mesh together, an additive that they can take on too. So if we're speaking to a customer who's looking for OKR software, we also say, hey, we help you educate your team, help them implement the OKRs, and then help you adopt them fully with our OKR program. And we have a 3-month minimum. So by doing that, we were able to succeed in our strategy. And we leverage OKRs to do that as well. We also launched our Outbound automated campaigns with a new tool that we're using, which is Success with Systems. They have a tool called One CRM, and then they also have a LinkedIn automation approach to that. So we have an outbound motion with LinkedIn automation and a workflow that goes through lots of different things. Maybe I'll do a video on that. But then we also have an inbound approach where we created landing pages, we've created forms that go up on our website. And if you go to our website, you'll be able to see what that looks like. It'll either take you to a landing page and then you'll fill out a form, or it will take you directly to a form where you can download our strategic planning workshop at the moment. It might change later in time. But on the back end of that, once you fill out the form, you go through a set of 5 emails where we're kind of introducing ourselves. We're talking about what we can do for you and how we've helped other companies, so on and so forth. So we have that set up. Well, we've designed and built the partner portal for potential future strategies. We're thinking about becoming more of a community type approach where we can get some other people involved. That's something that's going into our strategy this year. We've built and implemented the marketing roadmap. That's why I'm talking about landing pages and email workflows. We simplified the messaging and updated the website. So if you looked at the website last year or 2021 compared to now, it's a huge upgrade. We're very specific on OKRs, but that is also going to be changing a little bit. But so the point of me explaining on what we did in the past and what we were able to achieve is it now helps us take a look at what we've achieved and where we go next. So since we were able to achieve our first strategy, which was business transformation from broad business coaching to a 360-degree approach to OKRs with a program offering to make it easy, now we have to say, what is next? And so for us, what's next is defined in our 2023 priorities. And I'm going to put it up here on the screen as well. So what we look at is the different departments that we have at IMEO. And most companies have these departments. If they don't, then you should look into it. But we have finance, marketing, and sales, strategy and operations, partnerships, and then program delivery. The reason we chose these is because it's the most pressing for us, right? So for finance, we want to be able to create an annual operating plan, which is part of this video that we'll get to, but we want to create an annual operating plan for the entire company. One of our financial goals is to obtain a 10K revenue minimum per month. Now, a lot of people talk about that 10K. We're not just throwing it out there because last year we got to a solid point, and we believe that with the things that we're about to do and about to discuss, that can take us to that 10K level per month on a consistent basis. We also want to establish budgets from company expenses for our fiscal year 2023. And that also adds an element of breaking those down into KPIs and OKRs. Then we want to develop a financial model for each department and set a cadence to review those each month. Whenever I used to work at a regulations technology firm, I was the one that drove the financial review, month-end review every month, and put that process into place. So we're going to kind of adopt that for IMEO. For marketing and sales, we want to determine the best metrics to track marketing and sales to create dashboards and reports, which we've done that already. So that's good. We want to create a power list of our top 100 customers that we're going to reach out based off of our ICP that we now have. As I mentioned before, we didn't necessarily have that because we were trying to take everybody in. So it was hard to focus on who we're going to target. And if you don't have that focus, then that makes it very difficult. You're wasting a lot of money targeting the entire ocean instead of searching for one fish. So I won't go through all these, but that's kind of our marketing and sales. We're also going to build appropriate materials for sales and marketing while focusing on employee engagement and increased productivity and performance management, because that's what our OKR program does. But as we venture into strategy and operations, which is my background, we're going to also have a bigger portion there that we can take on. So speaking of strategy and operations, that's also one of our focus areas for this year, in this strategy time frame. I keep saying this year, but it's really the strategy time frame. This could be a 2-year strategy, a 3-year strategy, which is what we're looking at. So we're not going to accomplish it all this quarter or this year, but it's going to piece together. Build an operating cadence and model for effective and efficient actions to execute the strategy, which we've already done. A lot of these things are putting in place, but then we need to track and measure and make sure that we're following through on those, because that's what a strategy is. You're thinking for the future, where operations is you're saying, okay, the future's here. How do we do what we got to do today, tomorrow, this month, this quarter to push us to that strategy that we're trying to achieve? Okay. Then we're talking about partnerships. We want to identify the strategic approach to partnerships that generate more leads, meetings, and projects. Like I said, we have a solid partnership, an official contract signing and binding contract with Quantive. It's not just like we said, hey, we want to work together. We'll throw you leads. We'll do this. It's an actual official partnership between us. So we want to leverage that. They have a lot of co-marketing tools that we haven't leveraged as much as we could have in this past few months whenever we became partners. So we want to make sure that we leverage their marketing because they have a bigger team than us. It's easy to have a bigger team than one, right? So we want to be able to leverage that. So it takes a little bit off of my plate where I can focus on driving the clients to have a better customer experience, and then also driving more leads to us together in a partnership. And the more that we give to them, the more that they're going to see us as a vital partner. So that's one of the things that we want to do. One of the other things that we're thinking about is building out a partner program to create other OKR coaches and you can get a certification from that. So right now, as you're listening, if you're interested in becoming an OKR coach through IMEO, drop it in the comments. Let us know if this is something that you would be interested in. And if it is, we'll reach out to you directly. Send us your email if you feel comfortable with that, or request a way that we can follow you, or whatever the case is, or go to Instagram, Zach A. Wright, IMEO Company, or LinkedIn and send us a DM or a private message. Okay. Then the last piece that we're focusing on is program delivery. So whenever we're talking about program delivery, we're talking about our OKR program. But then also, as I mentioned, we're adding strategy development and strategy audits into the service offering, which I'll do a full-on video on that once we get that clearly identified. We're also going to help with vision creation, vision development, and vision audits, as well as missions. And then from there, we're going to tie in operations on the back end. So we're basically doing organizational structure and design. So we're helping your company become fully organized from the sense of the mission, the vision, the mission, your core values, your strategy, and then the strategy management with KPIs and OKRs. And then we're taking that a step further where we can actually help build out certain operational back end stuff where it's workflows in the back end, or triggers that help you create automation, or be able to turn your company, especially if it's an online business, into a 24/7, 365 operation where you don't necessarily have to focus on that specific thing. You can focus on the big things and let that operate in the background. So there's a lot of mixtures in there. And then the last thing is go-to-market operations, which kind of ties into operations. So it would be a pillar or a subcategory of operations. But program delivery, we want to look into identifying tools to help deliver the OKR program in a modern approach. So Excel to a portal for the client during implementation, if we find that that's going to be helpful. We want to evaluate the company shifting, which I mentioned a little bit earlier, to a community model. So we want to start having a Slack instance where we can start to have conversations with previous clients and kind of talk about if there's other people that want to join, or if there's other OKR professionals out there who wants to be a contributor to our blog post, or be on the podcast and talk about their experience, or be on a video on YouTube. So if you're interested in becoming that, or being a part of that, again, comment on this one in the comments with just the word community, and we'll know to reach out to you and say, okay, this is, whenever we get our community built up, we'll get you into that. So now we've talked about what we started off with, which is reviewing and analyzing and reflecting on what our previous strategy was. And the importance of doing that is understanding what worked, what didn't work, what are we celebrating, and then also understanding, okay, this is where we are, this is our current state from the last strategy. What do we got to do to get closer to our vision and mission, right? So whenever you're thinking about turning your or creating a new strategy, or updating your strategy from the current one that you have now, you want to think about your vision and your mission. That's where your strategy and your main priorities should come from. So you want to ask, does the vision still align with what we're trying to accomplish as a company? Is this our big picture goal? And if it is, then you're good. If it's not, then you can hire somebody like us to do an audit or work with you on creating a new vision. Same thing with mission. You want to ask yourself, okay, this is where we are. This is where we were. Are we still on the path to be the reason that we exist, right? You're taking the vision, that's the big picture. You're taking the mission, this is the reason we exist. This is why we come to work every day. This is who we need, and this is how we're going to accomplish it, and this is what we're going to do. That's what your mission statement is kind of summarizing in a very simplistic way. Then from there, as long as those are good to go, Then you take your current state and what you've already completed, you add that or you compound on top of that into your next strategy. So for us, we realized that, okay, the OKR program is great. And we've been able to implement it into 4 to 5 companies at this stage. So not a lot, but it's a high ticket price. And so we've been able to do that. But we've also realized that many people don't understand what OKRs are. So a part of what we're going to do is we're going to, as I mentioned before, organizational structure and design. That's going to be kind of our umbrella of services. And then underneath the umbrella of services, we're going to have the OKR program, and we're going to use the words interchangeably of strategy management, because people know strategy, they know management. And strategy management, a type of strategy management, is OKRs. So we're coming at them with the words that they understand to make it more relatable and understandable to a customer. But we're also adding in that aspect of strategy and operations, as I mentioned before. So from the experience that we had in the last strategy to now, that's how we're compounding. It sounds like we're expanding our services, but really we're tapping into what our audience knows. And then that's the way to get into the door. And we are expanding our services a bit, but we kind of already work with strategy and we supply operations for a lot of the clients that we leverage. So that's what we're doing. That's the new strategy, which is we're going to be the company that helps create organizational structure and design to increase productivity, enhance employee engagement, and drive better company performance. That's what we are going to be known for now. That's our strategy. So after knowing that, then we figured out, okay, what are the key departments that we have? And that's what I went over before. So just to reiterate, finance, marketing and sales, strategy and operations, partnerships, and program delivery. That's what we need to focus on to become successful, to ultimately get to our vision. So from there, once you define or you make sure that your vision's good, you make sure that your mission's good, you make sure that you've reflected on your previous strategy, the successes, the failures, what we need to do to improve and become a better company, you build out your priorities for your strategy. These are going to be the things that we focus on. Then you want to take what you have as your priorities and make them measurable. This is where your KPIs come into play, and then ultimately your OKRs. So KPIs, just for example or for reference, is key performance indicators. And so that's the things that you have to do to keep business going. I call KPIs your business as usual metrics. So for example, and I'll put this on the screen for the ones that I talk about, but our IMEO strategy breakdown for marketing, high level overview of content. So we want to be able to produce 4 webinars this year, 1 per quarter. We want to have blog posts, 12 for the year, 1 per month. And then we want to have podcasts and YouTube videos, 26 episodes for the year, 2 episodes per month, every other week. And then our Instagram posts, we want to have 500 plus posts for the year. So 1.4 posts per day. That is very tangible. And that's how you take your strategy and you build it into an annual operating plan where this is what your employees are going to focus on, or this is what you're going to focus on to achieve that goal. For sales, we talk about create the power top 100 list, or the top 100 power list, however you want to word it. And we are going to take, and we are already in motion, taking 25 companies and reaching out to them in the quarter. Right now, again, I'm a solopreneur, so all this falls on me. This is going to be highly manual, highly personalized, but it's going to be something that we think is going to be or going to produce a higher return on our investment. Then we want to have 13 new meetings per week, so or per quarter, which means 1 per week because there's 13 weeks in a quarter. Then we go into our pipeline. We want to have 32.5K in Q1. And then now this is going to catapult on top of it itself. So we haven't really tracked pipeline like we should in the past. And so we're starting with a baseline thing. And we've already actually met that pipeline goal. So we're going to have to raise it in Q2, Q3, Q4. We're going to have somewhat of a growth curve for the pipeline. Same thing with conversions. We want to have a 25% close rate with at least 2.5K on that one deal, right? That's going to grow as we go to Q2, Q3, Q4 as well. Then whenever we talk about operations, we're developing a cadence for each department, which we've already done. Again, now we have to execute that. That's where this breakdown comes in, and having KPIs, because you're not just talking about doing something, you're actually putting in motion a way to execute what you are talking about doing. And that's the whole purpose of this video. And I'm going to put up, as I mentioned, these different slides and views that you can see what I'm talking about. And hopefully you'll be able to see that and use it as a reference on how you can adopt that into your strategy and strategy breakdown into an operating plan. So that's the whole thing, right? And I'll try to break it down here for a quick summary, which is, when you want to build your strategy, first, you have to look at your vision, then your mission. Then you want to take your vision and mission based off of what you have accomplished in the past and ask yourself, what do we need to do to get closer to the vision and mission, and compound the efforts that we did before into this strategy. From that strategy or from that reflection, you list out your top priorities for what you're trying to accomplish for your company. Now, some of the other things that I didn't mention is you also want to look into doing a SWOT analysis, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. That helps you get a lay of the land. What are our strengths? What can we really double down on, or what can we look forward to? And how can we create a blue ocean, or what are the threats? Macroeconomics. Is there going to be a recession? How do we avoid that risk? How do we prepare and be proactive versus reactive? That could be a threat. Do we have other competitors out there who are investing and ramping up faster, moving faster, taking more of the market share? If so, how can we combat that? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. So opportunities, what are the opportunities that we have? Well, for us, is to expand into strategy and operations as well as OKRs, right? That gives us the ability to connect with people who understand those words a little bit better, but it also taps into a greater reflection of what we can do to help our clients succeed. So on and so forth. Another one that you could do, it's an either or, you don't have to do and, but a needs assessment. What do you need to do to achieve what you're trying to achieve in your strategy? There's a few other things that you want to do too. You want to look at Porter's 5 forces or another type of strategy framework out there. But basically, again, get the lay of the land. What does it look like? TAM, SAM, SOM, total addressable market, sizable addressable market, or the actual possibility of us achieving that goal. And then I can't remember the last one. Sorry about that. Maybe I'll put it up on the screen. But you want to be able to do market analysis, market research, understand your competitors. Is your pricing competitive, or is your offering competitive? Or what's your differentiating factor? What's your value proposition? All these things come into play whenever you're talking about your strategy and thinking about what you need to do to execute on your priorities. So I hope that this was very helpful. And again, this is something that we love to help, especially B2B tech startup founders, or it could be B2C tech startup founders. But we also do work with coaches and other people out there. I know that sounds contradictory from what I said with broad business coaching, But the reason that it's not contradictory now is we have our pricing structure in order, and we have clear offerings that we can talk about based off of the number of employees you have, the revenue that you have, and the goals that you're trying to achieve. So if you're interested in learning more, we do a free 30-minute or 60-minute consultation. And I have had people come to me, speak to me for an hour, and walk away with so much clarity that they started working right away after we got off the phone. So don't think that it's just a selling tactic. It's actually, we really love to speak to business owners. We love to speak to passionate people who are trying to change the world or make a dent in it, as Steve Jobs says. So again, if you're interested in learning more, send me an email at info@imeoconsulting.com, or as I mentioned in this video, put community in the comments, or put a comment down there saying that you want to work with us. So thanks so much again. And if you found this valuable, share it, like it, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode or video.